Hi everyone, thanks for checking out another video by Asia Digital Mojo. Hope you enjoy!
Hello everyone, welcome to MOJO Webinar. Today our topic is Seductive Interaction Design. The content is based on the book from Steven Anderson, Seductive Interaction Design, Creating Playful, Fun, and Effective User Experience. Today we will first talk about why we need seductive interaction design, and then we are going to talk about how to apply seductive interaction in your user experience design. In the end, we are going to talk about how we can get out of it. First of all, why we need seductive interaction design. Let's start from some cases. On the left is a metro station in Stockholm. Could you see what's going on there? Instead of normal stairs, some of the designers put piano keyboard stickers on the stairs. Guess what happened? 66% more people than normal took the stairs. And another sample from LinkedIn. In LinkedIn system, you probably realize they have task completeness scales. Every time when you fill in something, the scales goes a bit higher, and in the end you can complete the completeness scale 100%. And it results in more people sharing their information as using the LinkedIn service. The last example from Taekwondo. The Taekwondo sports has a belt system. From when you start learning Taekwondo, you always get a belt around your body, and by continue practicing and learning the skills, in the end you can get a black belt as the highest level of your skill. So what's going on there? Why do they work? Let's look at in a psychological point of view. First of all, it's about sequencing. We are more likely to take actions when complex tasks are broken down into smaller tasks. And another reason we delight in challenges, especially ones that strike a balance between being overwhelming and being boring. The next is about status. We constantly assess how interactions enhance or diminish our stand relative to others and our personal best. And in the end, it's about achievement. We are more likely to engage in activities in which meaningful achievements are recognized. Those psychological point of view can also apply to the actual user experience design. So why seductive interaction design? Why seductions? We clarify the reasons. We first need to define the seduction a bit clearly. Here, the seductions is the process of deliberately teaching a person to engage in some sort of behavior. In your daily user experience design for website, for applications, you're always facing some challenges. For example, high bonus rate, people come but never go back. For example, low adoptions, people just aren't using the service. Maybe it's an entrepreneur's app that only 10% of employees are using. Maybe it's a startup with few actions users. Or maybe you have too few registered users, or it's just no differentiation from competitions, or people are just uninterested in telling their friends about you. Those challenges cannot be solved only by usability test. Let's take another example from ILIKE. ILIKE is a music website that user can listen music based on their personal taste and their reference. So when you first set up your account, the system need to know as much as information as from you as they can. They need to know your taste, your reference of music. The system can sort out what is the best music taste for you. So what's the best things from this case? First of all, in these two cases, they both have feedback loops. We are engaged by situations in which we see our actions modify subsequent result. By looking at the interface feedback, you can control the system, and your effort can actually affect the system. Second of all, the system creates curiosities. When faced with a small bit of interesting information, people want to know more. So in the music list, by placing different artists, and user will get curious about the next page, who will be listed in the next list. The other one is pattern recognition. Our brains seek ways to organize and simplify complex information, even where there is no pattern. So when users look at the type of artist, they try to think about what's the relation between all of them. The next is about visual imagery. Vision sounds or other sense and is the most direct way to perceptions. If you think about the page from a technical perspective, it's nothing more than a list of 35 checkbox items. However, by using photographs of artists, there was a more immediate and visual reaction. Last of all, it's the recognition over recall. Recognition over recall. It's easier to recognize things we have previously experienced than it's to recall them from memory. All those reasons result very clearly people get more engaged in using the ILIKE website. So in conclusion, here we can point out that it wasn't a focus on usability that made this a great experience. It was psychological. Usability test and solving usability problems is actually smoothing the ways of user experience, but the psychology is actually the things to motivate people using the something. So when you look at the map, the bottom part is the functional. Ideas typically start off as functional solutions to a problem, something useful. Think of first the Motorola cell phone. Sure, it was a brick, but it allowed you to make cells on the thread to fix spot. Every new technology innovation starts at a functional level. And then from there, things have to be reliable. This can be reliable of a service as well as the integrity of the data. If I purchase tickets on a travel site, the ticket price needs to be current and reliable. If I host with a site, I need to know my data is backed up and accessible at all times. This is reliable. And it's not enough to allow me to do something. It has to eventually be less awkward to use. This is where the next two levels, usable and convenient, come into play. And the next level is pleasurable. Whereas convenience focuses on cognition, the next level of pleasurement focusing on affect and emotions. How can we make something emotional, engaging, and memorable? This is typical accomplished using things like friendly language, aesthetic, and humor, and doing things like assuring curiosity, creating flow, leveraging game mechanics, and other similar tactics. Everything described in the following content is about creating more pleasurable experience. The highest level is, of course, meaningful. You can't make things meaningful for someone because meaningful is very personal and subjective, but you can design for meaning by focusing on preceding levels as well as handing beliefs and the communities surrounding the product or service experience. All the seductive interaction is all about creating meaningful experience for your user, for your author, for your audience. After understanding why we need seductive interactions, how we can apply it to the actual design process, let's start from aesthetics, beauty, and the behavior. Why aesthetics? Design choices influence perceptions, elicit different response, and affect a person's ability to complete a task. When we talk about a button of a typeface, the focus should be on the fact of this object, not the object themselves. This is the domain of aesthetic. We must consider every stimulus that might influence user actions. And the aesthetic can actually influence cognition, association, and affect. Let's look at it in more details. Cognition. Cognition is the process of knowing. So look at those examples present here. For example, the search button. Which button you think you can recognize is the most clickable button? What kind of feeling the message presents to you? And by simply changing the direction of the shadow, you can recognize which tab is on top of which one. And more samples on the right side. The next is affective, feeling and emotions. Emotion is not a luxury. It is an impression of basic mechanisms of life regulation developed in evolution and is indispensable for survival. Contrast to popular opinion, the author thinks that enjoyable will be perceived as easy to use and effective. For example, look at those examples. Every product has their own personalities they want to communicate to their user. So for example, the two windows on the left side, you can easily feel they have different personality. And the robot Sony first present in early 19th. Why they choose a puppy robot instead of a human body? Because people think puppy is cute, funny, and friendly to use, and if a puppy make any mistake, it's easier for people to forgive them. It's a very smart choice of Sony when they first launched their robot, and by changing the aesthetic, it can affect the trust of people to your person. The last example is about perceptions of time. Look at the different time scales. How do you feel? And actually, based on some of the research, people by using an affective elation, it can seem like a feel is downloading 11% quicker than it really is. But actually, the designer is only changing the graphic design of the perceptions of the scale. In conclusion, attractive things work better. Basically, when we are relaxed, our brains are more flexible and more likely to find workarounds for different difficulty problems. We are more tolerant of problems in things that we find attractive. in the end is about associations. By looking at the two windows on the top, do you feel something dangerous on the right one? It only changing the shape of the button, and it changing the whole feeling of the user think about it. So here in the book, the author offered us a framework of evaluating visual aesthetics on websites. So basic design elements of color, typographic, and white space are always present. Even word processing programs offer users their choice of spacing, text choice, and text color. And iconic elements such as icons, buttons, and navigation elements communicate a message or action. The field of semiotics is devoted to visual representations like this. Content includes words as well as images. Whether they are big pictures or a travel destination or product shows, content is what users seek out. Texture and decoration, including everything from wallpaper and ornamentation to line separatists and the smiling lady staring at you or a homepage. These are not typical considerations, especially to the interactions. So based on this framework, you can go and check your design work, whether it visually pleasure the user who using your products. There's a very strong power of human being face. Look at the left side of the page. Which part you are actually looking at? The decorative image of woman plays a functional role in guiding our eyes to a specific area of page. So in these pictures, the black lady is looking at the bottom left part of the page. Are you also looking at that corner? See the power? And also in other cases, by placing the real people face in a meeting application, it helps users to record their memory of a certain meeting they attend few months or few weeks ago. And by adding individual profile pictures, even Facebook, when people want to cancel their account on Facebook, the system provides some real friends pictures on their pages, and by their research, they actually decrease several percent of users canceling their account. It's amazing that how a real face can play a very important role in your interface design. Second part is about playful seductions. Playful experience usually seduct people who want to engage, who want to interact more with you. First of all, playful seductions need to be humor. Being in a good mood allows people to eliminate unimportant information and find useful heuristics to solve the problem. Positive effect has also been shown to help us with creative problem-solving skills. For example, the sign on the left top, which one is more friendly and willing to help? And some of the airline also plays a humor conversation with their users. And even the MailChimp, in early MailChimp design, you can always find the monkey on top of the title. and it always telling a funny joke to the website users. It really brings laugh and humors to who looking at the website. Another aspect is surprise. Our brands are surrounded by new and unexpected discoveries within our normal routines. Normally, surprise can combine it with rewards. A surprise rewards can help user keep strong memory of your product or of your interface. It brings lighters to your customers, make them feel happy and enjoy. How to actually make a good gift? A good gift must be personal and need to be unexpected and meaningful. Of course, it needs to be pleasantly packaged. When we become aware that information is missing, when something changed from being known to an unknown state, we become curious. Curiosity is motivate people to get to know more information and to get more knowledge about you. So now what? Here we give a few tips to turning direct message into a quest. Making your taste interesting or at least proportionate in appealing to the cost. And strive to make the information personally relevant to user. And offer the promise of something worthwhile. What will it cost? Establish trust through previous experience and the context clues. Use visually to suggest or create an immediate perceptions of mystery. Don't try to lure user with something that is giving away free elsewhere. And in the end, in a playful experience, people enjoy expression themselves. From vanity plant to tattoos to laptop decorated with stickers, we love opportunity for self-expression. We seek out ways to express our personality, feeling, and ideas. Self-expression is evident anytime we tailor something to reflect our personality or personal preference. Those are very good examples that people express their self on your products. For example, the first one, user's personal image can be appear in a customized music video, and by doing that, people is willing to widespread your music video. And the middle one, in a very simple farmer game, user is doing something fun and express their creative ideas on your products. And the shelf case, people start to think about this is a shelf case where can put their favorite books on the shelf. Okay, let's move to the subtle art of seductions. Here are many small first steps you can do to increase seductive interactions. For example, shaping the path. By giving people a small map and guide them to a certain room, you provide a path and a guidance for user to involve in. And more examples. For example, the sign-up system present on the left. In the step 1, the default option is people want to create an account, and the second step is then filling the content people need to register. Normally, the first step is always a little bit annoying because people need to fill in a lot of information in order to sign up your system. But this process make the register system looks like more simplified. The first step is only clicking next button. You can already go into the step 2. People feel they are already one step further on your system. But you need to be careful that you shouldn't come in on too strong on your system. Look at the first examples. Providing 3 options for test. Most realistic case will happen is user will choose no options to test. And also the remote control you have seen on the right side. Which one you think is much more easier for you to use and more clear to use? So you need to give fewer options for users every time, each steps, and it's better to give less text, illusions of less by hiding informations. Here is the full list of informations one people need to fill in to sign up a system, but the right side is actually the way how they present to user. They hide the informations currently user don't need to fill in, and they just present the part of information one by one, and make user less nervous and less annoying to fill in such a amount of informations. And another way is hacking the visual system to make the things simpler. The 2 windows actually present the same informations. They ask user to fill in first name, last name, email, and phone. But by just changing the way you organize the column, it makes the experience easier. And the last is to make people less to think about it. The payment system did a very smart work. Instead of asking user fill in a lot of fill in the type of card and then fill in the card numbers, here user can just type in the account number. The system can automatically recognize which card type they are using, and by clicking the question mark, it guides user to find the information they need to fill in. And there's another important part is the influence of words. I think our copywriter should notice how strong power the words can have. So here are some of the small steps you can follow up to checking to create a playful seductive interactions. For step 1, role play the interactions. The author create a method you can by acting out your system, you get a real conversations with your actual user and the interface. And step 2 is what you need in this activity. You need a very big physical window, and you need a user and a person who play your system. And by acting out the conversations, to break down components requests into simple next steps. And step 4 is to minimize choices at each moment in time. And step 5 is look for micro moments. Step 6 is to choose click over characters. You need to make sure there are people who click through your system and check your system whether it fits to the user experience behavior. Let's move to the game of seductions. Interesting from the author. The first time when the author presents his seductive interaction design to audience. One of the common is this is the most game design, most interesting game design tutorial the people have ever heard. But at that moment, the author know nothing about game design. It reminds you also to think about the gamification in the seductive interactions. Why are we adding game mechanics to real things? At its core, the idea is something like this: there's a thing, and you add game mechanics. That thing now has a new layer of fun it doesn't have before, and people are more likely to engage with that things. A lot of people is engaging game playing. Let's look at the game design model. Why game design is interesting, and why a lot of people engage into game. There are a few reasons. In a game design, you need to have play and challenges. You need to have conflicts and choices, and you need to have feedback loops, and it has goals and rewards, and it creates an imaginary world. Those aspects create a meaningful and playful game for game players. First of all, the goal. It's easier to overrate it, so you need to make a challenge in your system. Goals. Site designers assume that the visitors already know what to choose. That's not true. People enter hoping to be led somewhere, hoping for a payoff. And about feedback, most websites don't very much care what you do. It would be much better if you say you have made something interesting choice. Expect to have challenges. A flow experience has got to be challenging. Anything that is not up to par is going to be irritating or ignored. Progression. You need clear goals that fit into hierarchy, with little goals that build towards more meaningful high-level goals. And another way you can use is to use SCARICITY. It has already widely used in online commerce, by showing people the money they're gonna lose all the time they're gonna lose it to motivate people to interact more and put more effort on your system. And you can also increase in quality by showing how much the user get out from your system. It shows how much value they could get from your system. And you need to also encourage participations. There's a case people need to fill in their feedbacks, but by limiting the text characters for example, people is expecting that there is a limitation to write text they want. On contrast, it actually encourages participants to write a little bit more because there's a limitation. And there is also other forms of SCARICITY. For example, limited durations. By highlighting how much hours you left on the system, it motivates people to fully use your system within the period of time. And in terms of feedback loop, it obvious that by showing out the result and the system status to users, it shows it encourages user to keep adding effort and to recognize their own effort and express themselves. So how a serious game works. Identify specific behavior patterns to encourage, discourage, to translate desired behavior patterns into data that can be passively tracked and measurable. Attach points to this behavior and translate points into a periodic score and other useful information. Display the score in a fun way. Create rules to translate data into helpful information. Set challenges, add social cues, have fun and make it interesting. Another part important in a game is about the prize. There are many ways you can give people prize. For example, points, level, scoreboard, leaderboards, achievement, buckets, assignment. Those are all disciplines that you can apply to your actual service design or user experience design. You can also set completions. In cartoon industry, by offering collecting cartoon toys, user feels they have completed a selection of a cartoon session, and also the web game and even the Gmail systems from Google. And here you have fun. Here you have learned a lot of aspects you can actually apply to your daily design process to make seductive interactions. Seduction isn't about deceptions or well-crafted manipulation. It's about giving someone more of what they already want, desire, or need, even when they don't know yet. What a company like MOJO can take. We need to apply the above knowledge into design and marketing, and to produce meaningful experience for user. And we need to carefully select messages, for example, interaction, graphic, and words every time when we need to continue to users and clients. By the way, there is one more thing. You should read the book. Now think about when you're gonna start reading the book and write it down. Thank you for listening and hope to see you soon.
Hi everyone, thanks for watching our video. Like, share, and subscribe. Oh, and don't forget to comment.